Hey, this is the Spiritual Download. Good morning from Colorado, talking about non-human superconsciousness. And what does that really even mean? Because in our society, we talk about consciousness as the human brain or the human mind is the center of consciousness, or that's the thing that is conscious. And then there's the physical world, and that the physical world runs by mechanical laws, but does not have consciousness or mind of its own. So the claim with non-human is to say non-human consciousness, that things that are not human are also conscious, or that the non-human realm is conscious, or consciousness is the thing that kind of the world is happening inside of. So that would be the argument that consciousness is also non-human. And those would be the two levels. So now we can introduce the term superconsciousness and then ordinary consciousness. So ordinary consciousness is the human consciousness, basically. Ordinary consciousness is the system of human thinking, the system of the human mind, which uses language, uses mathematics, science, art, etc. So anything that comes from the human mind would be ordinary consciousness. And again, that's a relative term because we are human, so we deem our human consciousness ordinary. So super consciousness would be non-human, or basically beyond the human mind or human consciousness. So it's actually more like above. So if you imagine what would be called our cosmic address. So we would say that we live in Minnesota, in the United States, on Earth, in this solar system, in the galaxy, for example. And so each one goes higher and higher. Each level continues going up and up. So the Earth one is much larger than the Minnesota level of your address. And so consciousness works in the same way, is that there's different levels. One is not better than another. It's simply either more macro in size and intelligence, or more micro in intelligence and size of consciousness. So the human level of consciousness would be more kind of like in the middle, where you have maybe like the consciousness of a cell or an atom would be extremely micro, or the consciousness of the Milky Way galaxy would be very macro. So that would be the superconsciousness, meaning that anything that is non-human would be of a different state of consciousness, specifically a bigger one, which is what we're looking for in spiritual consciousness, is a bigger, more vast consciousness. And so getting in tune with the superconsciousness would be similar to my previous video, is to learn about the quiet stillness of nature. Because basically, the non-human intelligence would be nature, or what we call nature. So like humans and then nature are two opposite things. However, in the superconsciousness, in the non-human realm, you see that everything is one, or that everything is in the one big consciousness, kind of the universal consciousness, or the space and time that everything happens inside of. All of these human events, all of these natural events happen inside of the awareness or the consciousness or the space of all of these things. So the question is, how can we expand beyond our normal consciousness, our human consciousness, to the non-human or the ultra-human consciousness, which would be super consciousness of kind of a more objective world, or a more real world of nature, the consciousness of nature, and learning more and more about how you work as a human, but also how nature works is the process, is the spiritual process. So it's kind of a scientific endeavor as well to learn more and more about consciousness. Your human consciousness, and the consciousness, the superconsciousness of nature as well, how that works. And that's definitely how I see my spiritual journey, is kind of a non-ending, unfolding process of learning about consciousness, about life, and ultimately about love as well. So, and I'll have more videos on those topics in the future, but that's it for today. Out hiking in Colorado this morning, so that's why I'm breathing a little heavily, hiking in the higher altitude. So I'll see you guys at the next one. See ya, bye.